Wednesday, guys. It is March 24th, Wednesday. I'm so excited for the end of the week. This weekend, we're going camping. It's supposed to be beautiful. So if you haven't already, start planning a beautiful weekend outside because it is going to be gorgeous. So March 24th, I almost said the date wrong. March 24th is a birthday for Rabbi Menachum Mendel Schneerson. And I apologize if I said your name wrong. He is a prominent leader of the Jewish community in the 20th century, but he's the one that's bringing out the day of education and sharing. It's all about education and sharing, and it's all about sharing is caring. So I can definitely rally behind that. I looked up a picture of him, and he had this giant white beard, and he looks like he's smirking in all of them. You can't actually see his mouth to know that he's smirking, but you can see it in his eyes. He looks like a really nice guy, and being a rallier for education, I can definitely get behind that, and now wish him a happy birthday, because that is awesome, an awesome thing to dedicate your life to. It's also an awareness about tuberculosis, which is huge because most people around here, at least, are vaccinated. I know my kids were vaccinated, as they have certain vaccinations as they're a little kid, between like the ages of an infant to 5 years old, and they're both completely vaccinated for tuberculosis. So you kind of push it out of your head, but it is a huge deal, especially in third world countries that don't have easy access to antibiotics. They don't have these vaccinations. Did you know a third of the world's population has tuberculosis? It's staggering. And I mean, I had to look it up. Like, I of course heard of tuberculosis. I think at one time someone told me what it was, but you don't really, like, it's a bacterial infection in your lungs. And it's one of those diseases that can creep up on you, that you can get it from someone and then not actually show any signs of it. It stays dormant in your system for years. It can stay for a really long time dormant in your system, and all the while you could potentially be spreading it. That's how scary it is. It's one of the causes, isn't it one of the causes for like plagues throughout the Middle Ages, and why people were dying left and right, and they had no idea why they were dying until, like, what was it, the 1800s, when they discovered what tuberculosis was and why people were dying. And then, isn't that the one where you cough and you get the blood, and that was like a huge deal, and they were just like, oh, it's your time, like like that was a common thing. You get it, cough, you see blood, and then you know that your time's running out. That is so scary, and it's super treatable now. All you need is antibiotics, which we take for granted. I mean, I get a sinus infection in the spring. I just got one like a few weeks ago. I take some antibiotics for 10 days and I'm good. Like, completely clean as a whistle, no bacteria in my system, good to go. But third world countries that don't have those kinds of connections to healthcare, it's scary still. And today's about spreading awareness about that, tuberculosis. And you should probably appreciate antibiotics while you're there. And vaccinations, having the access to them is an amazing thing. It's such a peace of mind that you feel invincible, because there's no disease other than this COVID thing that came around, but now we're getting vaccinated for that. You feel like nothing can touch you. But can you imagine living in a world where at any point you could just get sick and die? Like, you could just all of a sudden start coughing up blood? I mean, that's so scary. Let's not think about that. It's Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. And it's also about flatmates today, which they say flatmates, but I've always heard it as roommates. Which I guess flatmates kind of make more sense. You know, you're living in an apartment and they have a room, you have a room. You're not sharing a room, unless if you're sharing a dorm. I don't know. I think it's actually a regional thing. Maybe in another region of the world, maybe in England they say flatmates. Maybe in big cities they say flatmates, and I'm just used to the Orlando lingo. I don't know. But you should appreciate your roommates, your flatmates, because they are literally your people who live with you and do things for you back and forth. And sometimes you can get into little bigger arguments. Trust me, I've been there. Where, you know, they're not cleaning their dishes, or they're leaving socks on the floor, or, you know, random little things that can be your pet peeves. And of course, anytime you're living that close to someone, there's bound to be friction. But there's also good things that they could potentially be doing for you too, like maybe walking your dog, or maybe locking up after you, or maybe pushing the laundry through, or little things, you know, that could or keeping an ear out for you. If you don't come home for a few days and they don't hear from you, they know there's something wrong and you're missing, you know. So, you know, you should appreciate your flatmates, because even if they don't do something for you now, they could potentially do stuff for you later. And they're just the people you live with. I don't know. There's so many situations. I've heard horror stories about people who have roommates and how they just don't get along. And I'm hearing myself talk, and I'm like thinking about those people who are like, what? I can't think of one thing that my flatmate or my roommate does for me. I just can't. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. But at the same time, it'll make your life way easier if you get along with your roommate. They could be like family. Or they could be like devil spawn that's come to your life just to make your life a living hell. But hopefully that's not the case. And hopefully if you have roommates, you have a special place in your heart for them, and you do things for them and they do things for you. And that kind of bond lasts forever. You become friends forever. So anyways, that is my talk. I hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday, and I hope you're planning a fantastic weekend. It's supposed to be gorgeous, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.